And so we'll begin by taking a comfortable seat. This will be a Marma self-care session focused on cultivating self-love, releasing grief, and cultivating deep self-attunement. So just begin by taking a couple deep breaths and notice how you're feeling. Good. And if you have an essential oil that you want to work with, just take some and add a drop or two to your first finger. And then add some to your other finger. And then touch your thumbs. So you have some on your index fingers and your thumbs. So now take your index fingers and just bring them to the third eye point and let them rest there. Feel into that contact. Close your eyes, take a few deep breaths. Just explore the sensation of touch there with your breath, with your awareness. Become aware of any sensations that arise within and throughout your body as you stimulate each of these points. Good. From here, we slide the two fingers away from the midline and bring them to the temples. Feel for that indentation right at your temples and let your fingertips rest there. Again, bring your two fingers to the third eye point and slide up a little bit and then out and down again away from the midline, coming to your temples. Press gently. Once more, coming to the third eye point, slide up a little bit, and then again slide down and away from the midline. Let your fingers land right in that indentation at your temples. And you can start to make small circles with your pressure at that point, very gently. And then let your fingers again become still and rest. You can close your eyes, deepen your breath, and notice the effects. Good. And now bring your two fingers to the midpoint of your hairline. And if you don't have a hairline because you're bald, you can measure about 4 finger widths up from the point between your two eyebrows. So just here, applying pressure there, and then bringing your two thumbs to the innermost corner of both eyebrows and applying gentle pressure there. You can close your eyes, deepen your breath. Good, and then moving away from the midline to the center of your eyebrows and just letting your fingertips rest, your thumb tips rest at that point, at the midpoint of your eyebrows. And then sliding out again to the outermost point of your eyebrows. You should be feeling your orbital bone, the eye socket bone under your thumbs, and just letting your fingers contact the sensation of bone beneath the surface with just gentle pressure. Good, and now you can take your your pointer fingers and your thumbs and kind of gently pinch the innermost part of your eyebrow and do little inchworm motions in a sweet way across the length of your eyebrows. Do it 3 times, just stimulating the points along the eyebrows. Good. And then bring your pointer fingers just directly beneath the front corner of your eyebrows. Feel for that, the orbital bone, the eye socket, this inner part. And just let your fingers rest and contact that point. Good. And then gently sliding out to the midline, the midpoint. Your touch should be just directly below your pupils. Stimulating this point with gentle pressure, very gentle pressure around the eyes. And then once more, coming out. This point just beneath the outermost end of your eyebrows. Feel into the sensation of touch and explore that with your breath. Good. And now, bring your first two fingers to the innermost corner of your eyes, against your nose, but at the level of the innermost corner of your eyes, and apply very gentle pressure there. And then coming to the outermost corner of both eyes, applying very gentle pressure there. Good. And now taking your index finger of one hand, let the other hand rest, to the point between your eyebrows and just sliding down the bridge of your nose, all the way to the tip of your nose, down and up a few times. Stimulating the points along the bridge of your nose. Good. And then bring both fingers back to the point between your two eyebrows. And then let your two fingers slide down along either side of your nose, stimulating the points along the outside of the nose until you come to the point where there's a little crevice outside the nostril, right where it meets your cheek. Allow your fingers to rest, gently stimulating this point. Do it 2 more times. From the midpoint of the eyebrows to the point where your nostrils meet your cheeks. Just allow the sensation to be fascinating. And from this point, slide along your cheekbones until your fingers come up and meet again that little indentation at your temples. Very powerful Marma point here. Again, bringing your two fingers to the point where your nostrils meet your cheek and sliding with gentle pressure along the cheekbones. Find your temples again. Good, and once more. From here, sliding along your cheekbones until your fingertips meet your temples. Good. And now, bring your two fingers to the point between your nose and your upper lip and stimulate this very powerful point here. Let your two thumbs rest beneath your chin to stabilize, and see if you can relax your arms a little bit. Take some deep breaths. Exploring sensation both at the point of contact and also within and throughout your body. Notice any sensations moving through you. Good. And then let your two fingers slide down from the midpoint to the outer corners of your mouth. Again, bringing your two fingers to the point between your nose and upper lip and sliding down the outer corners of your mouth. Once more. From here, sliding down here. Good. And then bring your two fingers to the space just beneath the protuberance of your chin and your lower lip. Let your thumbs again rest beneath your chin for stability and stimulate this point here. Good. From here, you're going to glide your fingers and thumbs away from the midline, coming up to the midpoint of your cheek. Feel for that meaty muscle of your jaw. Again, from the midpoint of the chin, glide your thumb and fingers up to the middle of your cheek. Once more, and if the sliding doesn't work, you can do, again, that inchworm, and do little presses along that path until you reach that point again. Applying gentle pressure. Notice if there's tenderness there. Take some deep breaths. Good. From here, come to the earlobes. Feel your earlobes and gently pull down. And then give little pull squeezes all along the outer rim of both ears using your thumb and first fingers, pulling and pressing all the way until you reach the apex of the ears. Pull up and then again come down. Turn your wrists as you need in order to keep that path along the outside of the ear. Again, pull down on your earlobes. And again, come up, making your way again to the apex of your ear, the highest point of your ear. Let your thumbs rest on the apex of your ear, and then take your other fingers, take your two middle fingers, and let them meet at the very midpoint of your head. So you use your ears to measure that line to where your two middle fingers can meet right at the midpoint and apply. You can release your ears and then apply gentle pressure to the very center of the top of your head with your two middle fingers. And just breathing into that sensation of touch on that point. See if you can relax your shoulders and arms again down your back, even as you hold this point of contact. Good. And now estimate about 2 finger widths forward of that point and let your ring fingers rest at that point. And then measure about 2 finger widths back from the midpoint and let your 2 index fingers rest at that point. So now you have 3 points of contact that you're stimulating all at once at the top of your head. Again, relax your arms as much as you can. As you hold those points of contact, close your eyes and feel in. Use your breath to explore sensation. Good. And you could stay here a really long time, but we'll move on. So release those points. And again, come to your ears. With your index finger, feel for the indentation just behind your earlobe. And with your thumb, feel for the back of the little bone that makes that indentation. So you're kind of pinching, not pinching, but just kind of resting your fingers as if you were pinching along either side of that protuberance of bone. It's called your mastoid process. And you can just stimulate the points on either side of that bone with your index fingers and your thumbs as you breathe. And now let your fingers and thumbs kind of inchworm down, giving little gentle pinches to stimulate the marma points along the sternocleidomastoid muscles. Those big muscles alongside your neck. They're easier to see and feel sometimes if you turn your head. You can do these little pinches, turning your head one side at a time if that works better for you. Good. And then let your index fingers find the space right between the two tendons that come down on your neck. So just let your fingertips rest at these 2 points. Kind of on your collarbones, right where you feel a space between those two big tendons. Use your breath to explore sensation, any sensation that arises. Good, and then bring one finger with gentle pressure to stimulate this marma point right at this point at the top of your sternum, right at that bottom of that indentation at your throat. And breathe into that. Good. Now bring your two index fingers to the back of your upper neck and head. Feel for that bony protuberance of the base of your skull, and let your fingers just slide a little bit beneath that so that they're in that sort of softer space just beneath that bony protuberance. And yeah, let them rest there. Relax your shoulders and apply gentle pressure. This is a very powerful marma point at the base of your skull, the root of your neck. Notice if your breath naturally and spontaneously deepens and changes as you stimulate this point. Good. You could stay here a really long time. But let's move on and just feel for each of your neck bones. Each of your cervical vertebrae has a little bony protuberance, and you want to feel for the space just beneath each of those bony protuberances. All as you make your way down the neck, you'll find 6. And if you can't quite feel the bony protuberances exactly, just kind of be in relationship with them as you intend to press those points with firm but gentle pressure as you make your way all the way down your neck. Feel for a really bony protuberance at the base of your neck. That's probably your C7 vertebrae. And you can also feel for the space beneath that one. And let your fingertips rest there. Take a couple deep breaths. Good. And then let your 2 fingertips slide out. You want to touch the highest point of your trapezius muscle, basically. So it's right about there. And you can let your first 2 fingers rest on both sides at once. Or you can stimulate them one side at a time, if that feels better. Maybe you can cross your arms across your chest and have an easier time stimulating both at once. Just feel for that highest point of your trapezius muscle. This is a very powerful marma point. Take some breaths into that. And just allow the sensation to be interesting. Good, and from there, with your arms crossed, just let your hands wrap around your upper arms and give little squeezes as you make your way down the whole length of your upper arms. And just feel what it's like to hug yourself a little bit. Let your fingertips kind of find the outside, that little indentation outside your elbow. And you can come along the length of your forearms. Find your two hands and feel what it's like to hold your own hand. Experiment with different ways of holding your own hand and just see how each one feels. Beautiful. Good. Come back to the chest. Find your collarbones and let your fingertips slide just beneath your collarbones and come into contact with your first rib. It's pretty deep in there, but you're in contact with your first rib if you're resting your fingers just beneath your collarbones. And then bring your fingertips closer to the midline and slide down. Let's see. Slide down one more rib so that your fingertips are resting beneath your or between your second and third ribs, about 1 finger width from the midline of your body, and just pressing in to that space. Take a couple deep breaths. Good. And now from here, slide your fingers out a little farther apart, about 1 more finger width out from your midline on each side, and let your middle finger find the space between the next space down, basically. So it's the one between your third and fourth ribs. And then replace your middle finger with your index finger. So your index finger is in the rib space between your third and fourth rib. And with your middle finger, find the space below that. And with your ring finger, find the space below that. It's easier to do this if you don't have any clothing on your, well, if you don't have any like constrictive clothing on your chest. So just do your best and contact those spaces between your ribs here, about 2 finger widths out from the midline. Let your pinky fingers and thumbs rest in a way that feels comfortable and supportive so that you can apply gentle pressure to these powerful points on your chest. And as you breathe into these points, allow any sensations to arise in your body. Notice if any emotions are present. And if any emotions are coming up and are easy to identify, just meet them, welcome them. Notice with interest what kind of body sensations accompany your emotions when they arise. remembering that emotions are always giving us perfect feedback about our inner world. It's vital information about ourselves, about what we need. So welcome your emotions and notice if it feels in your body like there's any way that you could move or adjust to make more space for those emotions to feel welcome. Good. You can release those points and then find where the top of those points were. Bring your index fingers to meet at that midpoint, and then maybe let two fingers rest right at that midpoint of your sternum. You can see if any gentle movement, any up and down movement or circular movement feels good at that point. Again, just feeling in, allowing emotions to surface if they want to. Meeting them with warmth, with interest, and with care. Notice how emotions are accompanied by body sensations. And just allow those sensations to be fascinating. Just observe how they move, where they go, where you feel them. Notice what qualities they have. What does it feel like? Use your breath to explore the sensation at this point of contact at the center of your chest. And allow emotions and sensations to move. Allow time for your emotions to do what they will do when they arise. And just notice how when we allow emotions to arise and to move and be felt, there seems to be a beginning, a middle where they are kind of at a peak, and then there's a descent. There's a cresting, and then a descent. And so just watch that process with your mind and experience it with your body. And notice that emotions are just sensations in your body. You can observe them. You can receive the messages that they have, but they can't hurt you. They're nothing to fear. They're nothing to hide. They're helpful. They're important with the information they have to convey. Good. And so when that feels complete, you can release the contact at the heart and let your arms and hands rest. Take some deep breaths here at the end and just feel in. Notice how you're feeling. Become aware of an overall sense of being met, of feeling loved, and of feeling worthy of your own time and attention. Good. And now we'll end here. Thank you for your practice. You're welcome to work with this as much as it takes in order to learn the sequence. And when you've internalized it and you can pretty much do it by memory, you can take time. You can take more time with any of these points that feel like they need more time and more contact. You can do it sitting up or lying down. And yes, I hope that you get a lot of value from this. Thank you so much.